you know what I've done. Cock.
Is that our the usual start to the podcast?
That is not. Well, actually, so far, right? Yeah, I've been trying to do this thing, like start the podcast like this for about 3 or 4 weeks, and every single time I've fucked it up. So yeah, it is the way we normally start the extra bit. Me fucking up with the technology. Okay, attempt number 3.
Here's 20 minutes more.
Ish. Welcome to 20 Minutes More Ish, the show where we sort of do 20 minutes more. There we go. I got it right eventually. This is going to be third time's the charm, as they say. So we'd like to welcome back our guests from for you guys, what will have been last week's show, the wonderful Kieran, Jay, and Ben. We've just got off chatting all about the crazy world that we live in this day. But one thing, we ran out of time to do our joke competition. So we're going to kick off with our joke competition. Guys, anyone got any jokes about families?
Well, I can do a quickie
Go on, then.
About my goddaughter, Imogen, who often gets into quite a lot of trouble. And some people blame bad parenting. Some people blame the education system, don't they? And I don't think it can be the case with Imogen because both her parents are in jail and she hasn't been to school for a year. But I heard a reassuring phrase the other day that someone said it takes a village to bring up a child. And that took the pressure off me a bit because it's not just the significant parent figure. And so with that phrase in mind, yesterday I gave Imogen a variety bag of Monster Munch and popped her on the train to the Cotswolds.
Excellent. We had one in from Dan Live in our audience. He said, I met my stepson when he was already 16 years old, which means I never had to wipe his ass. But at some point in the near future, based on my current lifestyle, he's probably going to have to wipe mine.
The circle of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
When he's a bum.
Yeah. Anyone got any more?
I've got 2. I've got a longer one should we run out of ideas. But
all right.
The short one is that I've had a bad back all week. And on Tuesday, my sister called me up and said, Kieran, you should think about Pilates. I've been thinking about Pilates, but yeah, I've still got a bad back.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I've got a joke that is able to be used by anyone in my family, and it might make sense. Knock knock.
Who's that?
Jay Sand.
Jay Sand who?
Sorry.
Excellent.
I'm so slow.
My family joke is my nan was always a bit of a Marmite person. You know what I mean by a Marmite person? Yeah, like a Marmite, like she was bitter and she smelled.
Love or hate.
Yeah.
Also, we had this comment on the family thing. Was anytime my siblings or I do anything for our dad, like passing him a cup of tea, he responds with a little song. And this person has written in the little song, but I know the little song. So thank you, Victoria Tinsel Bells. I know the little song that you're talking about. And it goes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me. Does anyone else know this song?
Yeah.
I thought it was just a weird thing in my family.
No, never heard that shit.
Simon, I've just thought about another quick one. Just suddenly came to my head.
Yeah.
On family, I had a massive coughing fit when I took my uncle to the top of Mount Snowdon.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago. And the moral of that story is, don't throw ashes directly into the wind.
Excellent. Okay, then. So that leads us on then to our first game. Now, everyone loves an alternative fact. In the world of alternative facts, we need to be careful. But what about an alternative opinion? Well, this is my challenge for our comedians today. I've taken the headline of an opinion piece and I've taken out some of the words. My comedians just simply have to tell me what the missing words are. So our alternative opinion for this week is we need to develop a vaccine against blank.
It looks like we're saying. It looks
Smug
like
politicians.
It looks like you're trying to say we need to develop a vaccine against David Mitchell. Well, I quite like it.
Yeah, I like it. Is it
I've got. Go on.
is it the impulse to vote Conservative?
I've got
not
the
a lot of
hatred of
that.
Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
Is it brain freeze? When you drink a slush puppy too quickly.
Is it Rustler's Burgers?
I first thing I thought as soon as I saw that was smug politicians.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
Because, and then the secondary thought was, and if we do a vaccine for smug politicians, I volunteer to give Matt the twat a jab, followed by an uppercut.
I thought this might
Nice.
be some like proper like deep state anti-vaxxers. We need to develop a vaccine against vaccines, man.
Yeah.
Would they take it?
That's the problem.
That is so uncool, man. You're just
Now
putting yourself
that's
in
a
danger,
question,
man.
isn't it? That's a question to put to an anti-vaxxer. If there was a vaccine against vaccines, would you take the vaccine?
Mm.
Ooh. No, this came from a story this week, or an opinion article over the weekend from David Mitchell, where he said, we need to develop a vaccine against media scare tactics. Did we have a little look through this? What do we think of it, guys?
Yeah, I had a look through, and he was talking about the fact that they're called the Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre or Commission, and they've lowered the threat of terrorism, haven't they, from something like severe to substantial. And he's saying that slightly good news isn't really very newsworthy. But it got me thinking. Firstly, go on.
No, go on, Ben.
Well, firstly, I was thinking I had to look
up.
up what is joint terrorism, and I discovered that is when somebody puts Sentex in your spliff. And but also they depend, don't they, a bit on they're a bit like cancer research. The Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre, they depend on there being terrorism, so they don't ever say there's no risk at the moment in case they get their funding pulled. It's a bit like they found a cure for cancer, all the charity shops in Chiswick would shut.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
it does mean is that I only get searched 4 out of every 5 times I go to an airport now. So I'm pleased to downgrade the threat of terrorism, to be honest with you. Especially with lockdown beard that I've got going.
Well, this is it. Like, you think anyone going around with a package at the moment is surely looking suspicious. Like unless you're a delivery driver, like who the hell has gone out of their house to collect a package at this point? Like, no one's not been around to miss the delivery guy. Like, now is the very worst time to go and be a suicide bomber.
Where would you do it? Like, where would you go?
Yeah, exactly.
House and get 3 people.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Here's a true story.
But, I mean, unless it's Asian households, then you might get 15. But...
Yeah.
Yeah, because they might bring in a new law that suicide bombers are only allowed to bomb up one other person outside.
Yes, yeah.
Can I just go back to the Can I just go back to the deliveries for a second?
Yeah.
This is true. I once missed a Waitrose delivery because I was in Waitrose.
Amazing.
I mean, that sounds like the humblest brag I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. That's like That's like the super middle class version of Eternal Sunshine for a Spotless Mind, isn't it?
Well, you know. But yeah, it is true. I mean, you know, the actual, you know, it's very hard. It's quite hard to find a comedy angle against something that is so scary that the media really do prefer the world to be completely fucked up. And when things ease off and everything's, you know, so peaceful, you know, they're out of a job, you know. And I was lying in bed the other night and I was thinking about just media and the whole paper, because they love these big headlines that we're all doomed. And I was thinking, headlines: some editor resigns because UK is voted safest country in the world to live.
Yeah.
And he's taken on an exciting new role at the New York Times.
Absolutely. Like, you wouldn't want to. I mean, that is partly the point of the news, isn't it? Like, do you guys think that the news like blows things out of proportion and makes people more scared than they should be about stuff? Like, especially in the middle of like COVID and everything and Brexit, we've just had like big stories dominate the news.
I just kind of think like, especially if it's the news, that like no one's going to watch it otherwise, because if people turn on the news, or I don't even know if people pick up newspapers anymore, but if I'm on Twitter or something and I'm scrolling down and it isn't some, like, if I see David Attenborough's name in my head, I'm not going, oh, he's released a new documentary. I'm going, it's caught up for him working for the BBC, or he's been killed. That's where my head goes, because that's where the media made me go. I don't see it and think, oh, Blue Planet 4's out. Like,
So do you think then, like, that social media has like made news more sensationalist?
Yeah, like, I think.
I'm a liar.
There's so many more voices, aren't there, clamouring for our attention, you know, so they're all shouting that much louder, you know. And
bad news travels faster than good, doesn't it, as well?
definitely. Yep.
Yeah, that is undeniably true.
I think especially when there's going on, you're not going to ring your friend and be like, oh, did you see that person that made the really nice sandwich? No, I didn't. Why are you telling me that?
Yeah.
Well, that is it. That is always the thing, isn't it? Like, people go, we want the news to have some nice stuff on it. It's like, but then it's not the news, like, is it? It's like, the whole purpose of the program is for you to find out about all the shit that's happened in the world. Like, it's not like a happy, jolly, like, oh, here's all the nice stuff we've done. Like,
no, news is things you have to dodge when you go out your door, in a way, isn't it? It's not the slightly happy thing. I had a thought about this article when the gradations of terror. I think they go from, I think it's low, moderate, substantial, severe, critical. And I think that the Terrorism Commission based those gradations on how the BBC graded DJs in the 80s. Which I think went Reed, Edmund, Bates, Lee Travis, Savile.
I think that should be the scale for everything.
Yeah. Well, it's a ludicrous scale anyway, isn't it? Like, the top three are all like terrifying anyway, right? Yeah? So it's like it's not like a balanced scale where it's like in the middle we're all right. Like, no, to be all right, we need to have one. Like, I did this when I was doing my university thing. Like, at the end, there was this like survey that they went around, and they went, anything, like, if they ask you for the score and you say anything below a 10 out of 10, it counts as a negative score against the university, because so many people just go like 10, right? Yeah, and I'm like, I can't give my university 10 out of 10 for everything, but if I actually say it's shit, then I downgrade the quality of my university degree. Like literally, by filling in that response, I make my own degree worth less. Like,
it's like those surveys. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, it was like the whole COVID like systems. It was like you're either at high risk, super high risk, mega high risk, or insane high risk. I was like, there doesn't seem to be a, like, in my head, I thought it should be low, medium, high. Where he started with high and then went 3 levels above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you buy tickets on booking.com or something like that, and then a couple of days later, you get the "Would you mind doing a bit of feedback?" And you got spare time, so you click, "Yeah, I'll give you some feedback." And it says, "How did you find our service? Really good, brilliant, euphoric, or in the stratosphere and orgasmic?" And you're thinking, where's the just
Where's shit?
ordinary? Yeah.
Where was did the job?
Yeah.
But that's always
Yeah.
that. People are always trying to second guess your responses, and I don't know. You'll get like I was just beautiful. I was having a bit of some kitchen work done, and the guy wanted feedback because we had a very nice conversation on the phone. And I said, "Well, that was a very nice conversation on the phone. 8 out of 10." And then 8 out of 10 suddenly becomes the overall score for this company in terms of a deal which was just fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So in order to change that alternative fact, I had to actually go and Trustpilot and give them 0 and say they con me into doing 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Nice.
And sometimes you
You know
get nice,
what-
helpful people working for awful companies. And you kind of think, well, I want to be nice to them, but, you know.
I mean, that is always the challenge, isn't it? Like you want to get angry at the person who you're dealing with, but you know it's ultimately they have nothing to do with it. It's just some poor guy in a call center in India. Like it's not his fault.
When I was teaching, I used to do things where I got kids to like rate certain lessons, but I used to be really awkward with it. So I used to be like, "Can you please rate this lesson out of 7 to 30?" And they'd just kind of be like, "What? Where's the top? And where's?" I was like, "I'm not even telling you what the top and the bottom is. Just rate it. Put it on that scale. Figure it out."
But don't you think, guys, that it's if you compare, say, the UK to the US in this whole media trying to scare us, that there's something that we're so suspicious in the UK. We're always on. Our default position is somebody's trying to rip us off, and whereas in the US, you know, the default position is that everybody's trying to kind of kill us. So you know, it's kind of paranoia versus.
Yeah.
I don't know what if it's paranoia in the US, what would you call it in the UK?
Wow.
Oh wow, I don't know.
Consumer suspicion.
What
Caveat
the
emptor.
bollocks?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
I'm
think-
convinced though. Like, I remember watching a documentary on Weetabix, and not with the beans and shit, but like this was ages ago. I was watching the documentary, and they basically were showing that on the same conveyor belt, it used to come down and then split off into branded Weetabix and like own brand Weetabix, and that's given me real like trust issues. Like one's 7p a box, and the other's like £2. Yeah, it's given me trust issues. So blame that documentary for mine.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I had my brother over to stay over the Christmas because my mum got a positive COVID test, and my brother got quick sharp out of the house, came stay at mine, and
Yeah.
And he when he would go to the shop, it would all be like, "Oh, I've gone to Aldi," but then he's bought all like the branded stuff, and he's bought all like the most expensive bits, and it's all like the home brand Cocoa Pops. I'm like, buy the cheapest. That one is costs 20p, and he's like, "Yeah, but it's home brand." I was like, "It's 20p. I'm not arguing with you. Like, this is a COVID crisis, Mike. It's 20p. We're buying it."
Yeah. I mean, that Weetabix conveyor belt that you just described, Jay, it reminds me of like the grammar school system. You know, you're like ticking along quite nicely till you're 11, and suddenly you're a Kellogg's Weetabix or you're an Asda Weetabix.
Yeah.
It seems quite merciless.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that pretty much wraps this up nicely. Has anyone got anything they'd like to add? Anything they want to chuck in? Anyone got anything they want to plug? Any shows, any things that people are doing that they want to try and get out there? Kieran, you got anything? Oh,
No,
yeah.
no. I mean, I you know, I feel cheated that yet again I'm not able to go to Edinburgh, basically because I'm shit. I know I'd love to do that, but I'm afraid. You know, I'm genuinely afraid. I've got loads of material, but you know, I don't know about you guys, but comedy for me is not an ego thing at all. I just really worry that I'd be shit.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't think about doing something like a show until I was absolutely 100% on it.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I want to put together something for Edinburgh, but who knows? I mean, who knows if it's even going to be happening? Who knows what it's going to look like?
Not this year, but I think they'll be back with a vengeance next year.
Yeah.
And we should all,
Hope so.
we should all
Fingers
do our
crossed.
thing.
Fingers crossed. Jay, you got anything you need to plug?
Yeah, I've got a podcast. It's called J Chats. You can literally get it on all streaming services. Check that out. I do a bit of poetry. You can check everything that I've got on my Instagram, Twitter, or anything. It's just at Sandy Wright, SANDHU, and then Wright like with the pen, WRITES. So you can put all that there. And if you hate me, send me some hate. I haven't been heckled for a while, so I'll enjoy it.
Hey Jay, we'll have to swap poems.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, last week we were talking about having a 27-minute hour comedy hour cook-off. This week we could have like a little poetry off. We've got guys both do poetry. We've got 3 poets.
Yeah, I do. I've started to do because my mission statement says defying age, weight issues, politics, and decluttering through the tyranny of comedy and poetry.
Nice.
And so I've been using poetry.
Nice.
As a great way to comment on, Trump, lockdown, the whole everything, and it's been a lot of fun.
I'll send you over a poem. I think that I wrote that I think you'll like, Kieran. I'll send you over a poem that I think you'll like.
Oh, brilliant! And at one stage, I'll do. I've got. I also do comedy sketches in a Shakespearean style in iambic pentameter, rhyming couplets.
Nice.
And they're good.
I've
been working on that as part of a show. That would be kind of a 15-20-minute segment of like Shakespearean themed comedy sketches.
Nice. That's really cool. Lovely. Ben, you got anything you'd like to plug at the moment?
Plug? Well, I've only just started doing the comedy again after a long break, but I've got a music channel. If it's all right to mention the music I do as well.
Do.
Just formed a band with my friend David Instill, and we're called Gold Hawk. And we started putting demos up on YouTube, and please search for Gold Hawk the band. Listen to some of our tunes.
Awesome.
And and I pop up on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter doing comedy. So yeah.
Brilliant. So keep an eye out for Ben as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here at 20 Minutes More. We'll be back every Friday with brand new comedy and extra chat with all of your wonderful guests. I would like to thank my wonderful guests for today, the brilliant Kieran Harty, Jay Sandhu, and Ben Lawrence. A massive thanks to Dan Lythe, who's put together all the music, and to Mike Hall, who has put together all of our wonderful artwork. Until next time, see y'all later.